Hello, all. I think we're live. This is, once again, Michael Bourne streaming live. I am Michael Bourne, and I believe that Cold Fusion, or CFML, is one of the best platforms for web development. So I'm here with Gavin Pickin, and Gavin's kind of pushing this CFML coding challenge that he wants to do. So we've been talking it over, and we're building a CFML coding challenge module. So what you can do is, when we're done, we want you to be able to install this module and run the tests. And you can work in the ColdBox folder and write yourself some code and watch the tests pass. So definitely encourage some BDD style programming, help you learn Cold Fusion, help you learn some ColdBox, some TestBox, a lot of good stuff. So after I saw all that, Gavin, welcome.
Yep. How's it going?
It's going good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm just sending a couple of messages out in Slack so everybody can come
Yeah,
find us.
letting the Twitters know. And we're getting going a little late here. Had some setup to do, but that's, I guess, typical.
Yep. But good to be back, and yeah, I think we did pretty well last week, and got a nice start to it. But obviously, we want to make sure that going forward, this is going to be easy to update, and so you guys, if you get our little module, our little app, that we can keep adding challenges for you, and we want to make it easy to update. So we had to talk a little bit about it before we got on air, so we wouldn't waste your time humming and hawing about the best ways to do things. But I think we came up with a pretty decent plan, so we can sort of work towards it and get this product a little more polished. Do you want to tell them how far we got last week and just sort of give them an update for those who missed it?
Sure. So last week we wrote, basically, we set up this vanilla ColdBox app that you see here. And we set up a test box specs folder. And we just set up a couple tests here for a string reversed function. So the idea is you can run the test. You can see this all these expectations fail for different pieces of functionality. Just testing this reverse string function, and the idea is that you can run, you can implement it here. What Gavin and I are talking about is actually Gavin came up with the idea, but setting it up so that it's a little more installable, a little more updatable without any users or any devs needing to update their own machines. They can just do a box update to pull in the latest version of the module. So that's kind of where we are. Is we're going to switch from this as a ColdBox app to basically just an installed module, make it a little bit more encapsulated, I guess.
Yeah, because the way ForgeBox works is when you install a module, if it's got a latest version, what it'll do is completely remove the module and install the new one. So if we treat this whole app as a module, when you install the module, you have everything you need to get started, and the models folder is where you put your stuff. But if we reinstall that app, theoretically, Command Box will want to remove everything from the module or the app and then reinstall the whole thing, so you'll lose your work in the models folder. So one easy way to do it is basically once you've got the app laid out here, if we create a module that will have ForgeBox control, we'll put that in our modules folder. That's where modules that ForgeBox controls go. And that way, whenever you do a box install, your box.json will say, hey, we're going to use this module as a dependency of this app. And it'll say, oh, is there a new version? If there is, it'll completely wipe out that module and install it again. And so you'll have all the new challenges and everything there. But because everything's in the models folder in the app, that won't get touched. So that's the plan. Now, the other thing is, too, if we want to update the layout or the pages or anything else, then you'd want to change the main app normally. But ColdBox does some cool stuff where we can say in our app here, we have an app, but if we say the default event is actually from a module, then when we update that module, all of that will change too. So that's our plan. So basically, theoretically, if you just have a normal ColdBox app and you wanted to add these challenges in, you could just install the module and hit a URL and everything would work just fine. But obviously we'll give you this little starter app just to make it easier. But that's the goal, is to get everything running and be easily updatable. So let's try it. So what we want to do is create a module first. So if you want to spin up the site as it is and sort of show them, basically it's just a vanilla template ColdBox from Scaffold, so nothing special.
Sure, will do. Starting up command box. Here we go. Just do quick check server. Okay. I didn't remember.
So we called it CF Wars because we're kind of basing off like a Code Wars setup.
Was the first name?
Michael's...
Yeah.
Sorry?
That was the first name. Wasn't sure if we've decided on something yet or not.
Yeah, I guess until we post it to ForgeBox, it doesn't matter yet.
Yeah. Once it's on ForgeBox, it's concrete.
Exactly. Okay, so this is starting up, and what we're going to do after this is we're going to build a module, and we're going to customize a view. So here you go. So this is the page. This is the default template that comes with the ColdBox scaffolding, so it gives you some little helpers and everything. But what we want to do is we want to make sure that everything we run in this app comes from our module. So let's go and scaffold a module using command box, and we'll see what it gives us, and we'll go from there.
You know, it's bad. I have never even done this myself, but I'm thinking it's going to be ColdBox create module.
Yep. And then see what we got. So
we've got a couple.
I think it is script by default, but
gotcha.
I think by default it is script, so we'll leave that alone. So we want the name of the module. So let's call it CFML challenge. So that'll be the name of our module, and then push tab again, and we should better get the rest of the options. So we can put a lot of this in, but we'll just leave it blank for now, and we can add it later. I like to do as minimal work as possible until I have to. And so when you do this, it's going to create a bunch of stuff. Now, one cool thing about having the terminal inside of VS Code is if you want to open any of these files up, you can hold Control and click on the link in the right-hand side, and it should open it for you. Does that work for you? No.
No. Definitely
I wonder
not.
if it's because you've got spaces in there or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, one of the things I like about my terminal is that, yeah, I can control click and it opens. So anyway,
I'm gonna have to change my Windows username now. It could be because I'm using Git Bash as well. I'm not sure how well that integrates.
Possible, yeah. So, but for those of you who have that ability, it's really nice when you generate stuff here.
Yeah.
So you'll see that it created a module called CFML challenge, like we named it. It's got a handlers folder. So what do we have inside the handlers? We have one handler called home. It's got a basic index, and there's no models, but gives you a place to put them. And then it has a views folder, and then there's a basic view. And then inside the module config file, this is like our box.json kind of setup for our module. Very well documented. You get lots and lots of content in there. Most of it you don't need, but it gives you everything. And so when you do a scaffold, usually what I do is I go through and delete all the crap I don't need, but it's nice to see it all to know what's possible. And if you want to find out more, you can. So, you know, you can actually add resources, you can add routes, you can add layouts, settings, parent settings. There's all sorts of stuff in there. So I usually leave the settings. I don't usually like parent settings.
Yeah. I don't know if we need routes later. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of this other stuff we'll just leave because we'll like to fill it in. If we're going to publish as a module, we'll probably want most of this. So that works pretty good. So we'll leave that alone. The model namespace is important because if you're going to use Wirebox, any models we have will be the name of the model at CFML challenge. So that automatically namespaces it for us. The CF mapping gives us a mapping. So /CFML challenge now will be a mapping we can use. And auto map model means all the models will automatically set up for us as well. So this is really handy. So this is the default.
Gotcha.
There are some settings to being a ColdBox module and everything else, but this is enough sort of to get started. So if we save this, what we'll need to do is to reinit the app, because once you add a module, you have to reinit the ColdBox app. And what that does is basically the first time it loads or when it reinitializes, it looks for all your modules, and you can see now we have a module called CFML challenge. So if you click on that, it should take us to the default view. Nope.
No.
Okay. Because we do home/index.
There you go.
So I think if it was named main and not home, it might show up.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so basically right now, CFML challenge home.index brings up your module page. So this is our view that was created, and so we can work in here. So now what we want to do is we want to make this our default event. So if you go to just slash, we want this page to show up. Because what we want to do is have your rest of your app basically do nothing. So go back to the slash.
Yes.
And then what we can do is go to your config file in VS Code. Under config, go to ColdBox. And you'll see right there, default event. You can see I've got my cursor there because we're using live share, so I can actually type in here too. But so what we can do is do CFML challenge home.index. And this will basically say, if you're going to the main site and you're not sure what to run, this is what we want to run. This is the implicit event or the default event.
And that's grabbing, so that's specifying the module, the handler, and the action. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. So if we save this, then we're going to need to re-init again, because whenever you change something that's basically cached by ColdBox and all the settings and modules, etc., are cached for speed, we need to re-init. So you can re-init in the browser, or you can even use the ColdBox space re-init in your terminal, which can do the same thing.
I'll do that one next.
So now, the default page is our module page.
Very nice.
So now when we throw in that module, any updates we do to the module through ForgeBox, they'll automatically see in their app because that is the default page now. If we wanted to, we could use routes or anything else to get back to the main app, but this just gives a default event. So if you wanted to install this in an app that was already existing, you're just playing, you want to throw this in there, you can still get to it with the CFML challenge/home, and that would all work. But having it sort of built there as a default event is pretty neat. And that's sort of a way to show you, if you want to, you can change that default event from one thing to another. And there's actually ways that you can sort of take over the slash event. ContentBox does that by default when you install it. There's a lot of different ways to do it, but I think this works great for what we're going to do today. So, with that being said, let's try and be tricky here. So, when we did our test last week, where do we put our tests?
Well, in the test folder. For the app,
so,
the app test folder.
Exactly. So what we need to do is we need to figure out a way to be able to access those tests a different way. So inside of the test folder, we have the application CFC, and we have a runner file, and so that basically runs the tests. So what I'm thinking we should do is inside of our CFML challenge app, we should probably have a runner file that will basically have all of our stuff. So I think we should make another folder in here called tests, because we could do it inside the main folder, but that makes it harder to update. So we're trying something new here, because I don't even know if this will work, but we'll find out. So make a new file, application.cfc. The main reason for this is that we don't want it to bubble up to the top application CFC, because otherwise we'll hit ColdBox and ColdBox will do its thing. We want this to run as just a normal CFM file.
Am I grabbing all of this? Not much of this
I would
looks.
grab this.
Yeah.
We'll probably have to make a couple of changes in there.
Yeah.
So
mapping
from the current path /tests. So it's not really. We'll actually do. We have modules app /CFML challenge /tests would be actually where to get it to. So.
So what are you telling me?
Yeah, well, let's find out what it's going to do here. So the mapping /tests.
Yes.
It should be fine for where we're at, because it should get the current template path.
The current test folder, yeah.
And so the root is where the tricky part gets, because we actually want that to be multiple levels up.
The application root.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for that, we want to change the replace no case.
Yes. So replace.
we want to get the tests, which we got, and then we want to remove not just the test folder, we want to remove the modules app and the CFML challenge and the tests. So I think we do, let me see here. So if we do modules app and then CFML challenge, and then like you're copying this here, we could get this and then put them as the separator.
Yeah, that looks like an OS generic regex to find the path separator.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's what we're looking for. We're looking for we basically want to remove the modules app slash whichever slash is right, CFML challenge slash test. And like I said, we're putting it in a new place. This is something I don't usually do, but I think with modules, it's nice to have the test in the module if you can, compared to having it in a base app that, you know, it's kind of all over the place. So this gives us a little more control. So that would be the root path. And I think that's good, don't you think? Instead of ColdBox testing suite, why don't we change this to CFML challenge testing suite at the top here too? That way we don't get any clashes with the other one just in case. So it shouldn't matter anyway because the get template path should work, but you know, let's be a little more explicit here. Okay, so now what we can do is inside our test folder there, we can create a runner.cfm. So we can copy the other runner.cfm if you want.
Sure.
Just copy it over and then we can change anything that's relevant.
It's a really dumb way to do it.
Okay. So we want to rename that. Just runner. Okay, so now let's look at this here. So we're looking for a simple reporter. We're looking at test.specs, and that test mapping should work because we're using the application CFC that's local to us. The recurse true. Everything else I think here should work because of the way we put it. The root path should be good. Our blacklist should be okay still because, you know, it's not too irrelevant there. So I think let's try it. So what we need to do is make a specs folder now and copy our test over. So we had it on the unit test here, but since we're doing just this, we create a specs folder and just put it straight on the top level.
Yeah, I'm just gonna move this thing.
Okay, and so let's rename that CFML challenge to like, how do we want to do the challenges? Do we want to name them? Do we want to do a date sort of syntax for them? What do you think there? Because obviously CFML challenge test doesn't make as much sense now that we're going to have multiple. So I don't know if we want to have a code name. We could just call it reverse test for now.
Yeah, reverse
maybe
string.
some way.
I think that makes more sense. It makes more sense than dates, you know, or dates are numbered.
I was just thinking if we wanted to order this some way, but I think we got another thing coming up later. We'll talk about how we want to organize this going forward. So we'll just do reverse string test. Yep, I think that's good. So let's try and hit our CFML challenge / test / runner.cfm. Let's see if that works. Ooh, that did not. Okay. So I wonder if it's because of the mappings kicking in and everything else. So let's do modules _app / CFML challenge / test. So let's add a bit more into the URL. I think because it wasn't specific enough, it assumed too much. There we go.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because we were using a mapping that only existed if you hit the application CFC. It never got to where we wanted it to get to.
Gotcha.
So, not perfect, but hey, that works, right? It still brings up the challenges. It runs them right there. Now, something cool I think we can make some use of here is on the end of that CFM, do ? Formatter equals, no, sorry, reporter equals JSON. So by default in that runner.cfm, we had a reporter of simple. if you change the reporter to JSON, now we get everything back as JSON. And so what this allows us to do is later on, we can actually have a little button that we push next to the name of the test we want to run. And we can get the stats on if you're passing or failing right from a sort of a control panel, like a contents page almost of all the challenges. And you can see how many challenges have I succeeded with out of all the different challenges. So what I'm thinking in my head is a way to, when you get to the page, show all the different challenges that are currently loaded in the system and what your progress is. And this type of thing will allow us to do so.
Because you can see progress via the passed or failed tests.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing is too, is we can actually pass to the runner what tests we want to run, and then it'll give us a report on that too. So if you look at the report path, no, is it not? Sorry. Not the directory. Let's see. Yeah, so right now the directory is set to test.specs. So if we actually had a folder for each set of tests, so if you had tests around different things, we could actually hit each one individually.
Oh, gotcha.
So,
yep.
So let's go back to our code and let's make it look a little prettier here. So you want to go to the view/home. So inside the views file. Okay. So another thing in here too is when you see that you have an H1, welcome to my cool homepage. When you went to the page though, what did you see? Do you remember seeing anything else on that page?
I feel like it was showing maybe a description. I'm not sure. No. Well, yeah, it's showing the rest of the layout.
Yep.
I wasn't sure if you referred to anything else.
Yeah, so there's a layout there. So what we can do is actually add a layout to this module as well. So we can have our own layout for our CFML challenge. So you want to go and we'll create a layout. So let's use the scaffold, shall we?
Oh, okay.
Let's force ourselves to do something we're not used to doing. So ColdBox, create layout, and then push tab and you'll see. So you got the name, a helper if we want a helper for it. We don't need a helper, but the directory would be useful. So we want to do directory equals, we have modules app, yep, / CFML challenge / layouts, because that's the convention. We just want to put it in the module. And then we want to have the name equals CFML challenge, or actually just call it default or main or something. Yeah, something like that. Push enter. So now we should have a layouts folder with a new layout. So now let's save it, and we go refresh the page. It's going to have the same thing because we haven't told it what layout to use. So we can go to either the ColdBox settings, or we can go to what we can control with this module, and we can go to the handler itself. So go to the handler for this module.
Yeah.
So handlers home. And so when you're setting a view, you can actually set a layout too. So you could do view equals home / index. You can do comma layout equals. And then we could do default. And I think we have to do, let's check that. We might need to change this here. So I know there's a way to do a layout with the module. We might have to do event.set layout to choose the module, I think. Let me check here.
I'm checking too.
All right, so documentation's good. Okay, so if you're setting the view, you can set a module for the view, but I don't think you can set the layout for the view. But let's try something here. So let's, instead of layout equals default, do layout equals modules app / CFML challenges / layout / default. So we'll save it.
Yep.
Since it's a handler, we shouldn't need to reinit. We should just be able to pull it up. Should. Always can be proven wrong.
We're still Yeah.
Okay,
It
so
worked.
now we have our layout and we have a cool page. Okay, so that's one way to do it. So let's try another way because I like to do things multiple ways. So instead of doing that, let's change the layout back to default, and let's just change the module equals CFML challenge. So we'll take out all the modules app stuff. So what I'm thinking is going to happen is it's going to blow up at us because when you change the explicit the module for the view, I don't think the layout is affected by it. Let's see. So the view should work still.
Oh. Looks like it works to
Maybe it
me.
does. Okay, now if you change it to main, change the layout to main, let's see if we get the other one or not. Because there might be some ColdBox smarts which go looking for the right layout, and I think it did. So by default, it looks for the name of the layout and the where you're at. So take out the module, and we'll see what happens. And again, I like to play. I like to see what it actually is doing. People like magic. I don't. I like to understand it. Okay, so now the layout main, even though we're in the module that went and found it in the top level, we change it now to CFML challenges the layout. Oh, sorry, the default, not main.
Yep, yep.
And take the module off again. So it does look in the module and then move up. So let's create a layout called main inside of the module and see which main it thinks it needs to use. Because I'm curious now. Sorry guys, I like to play. So then just, yep, say, yeah, I am the CFML challenge layout. Save it and we'll try that.
Nope.
So back to the handler, home, and then change
it to main. What? Thank you. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. So I didn't render the view, but it did pull it in.
Yeah, so it's looking in the module first, and then so that's interesting. And I think that might have been something that didn't happen before. So, oh yeah, you're right. You have to have the render view to get the view. Okay, so now we have a layout. We can do some cool stuff, and maybe we'll work on that, you know, in between weeks. But now we have the ability to add a nice layout and do something else. So, moving forward then. So what do you think we should do next? We already have the place where they can add their models in their main app. We already have some tests. So what do you think we should do in our main view? Obviously we can have a link to something about how to get running and started and whatever, but what should the main screen that they see be? What do you think?
I think we could start by just having a rudimentary list of challenges. You know, okay. Something for them to click on. I know it's kind of one of the last steps, but it's nice to see that.
I think we're almost there, to be honest. Like, obviously it doesn't look pretty yet, but this is up to Brad level, right? Brad Wood style. This is pretty advanced here. We're using tags.
If you're insulting him like that, I sure hope he's watching.
He'll watch it eventually. So, but yeah, so I think, you know, we can go ahead and do that. So long term, I want to make things pretty advanced. I want to do a lot of cool stuff, but let's build up to that. So we were talking before about maybe having an array so we can loop through stuff. So do you want to just maybe hard code one to start? You think that's a good way to go?
I think it wouldn't hurt to hard code some data.
Okay.
You know.
So in the home CFC is where our handler is, right?
Yep. So
let's use the PIC to store an array of challenges, and then we can use the view to output them and show them. So my goal is eventually to have these challenges basically be set up where maybe submodules of the challenge will have a modules folder, and as we add new challenges, we add a module for it, and that module will have information about how to do the challenge, so you have some description of what to do, then you'll have the actual challenge, test file and some other information. But at first, like you said, we need a name, we need a link. I think we need a link in there as well, so that way we can actually run the test. So maybe call it test link. Yeah, something like that. Test URL, test link, something. Your runner.
Yeah.
That sounds good. And then what we can also do is the description. Yep. And that's probably good enough for now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Yeah. Can't think of much else. Picture of the author.
We could. Yeah, we could do some cool stuff. And for those of you who've been following at home, this is all because Code Wars doesn't have CFML right now. But we had a couple of people reach out to us about, they found a GitHub, on an obsolete GitHub thing, basically an issues board where you could actually add an issue for Code Wars to add the language. So I actually created an issue on there, even though it says obsolete. I guess they're still checking it. So I posted that around today, and last I checked, over 40, I think it was over 40 people had already gone and liked it. But by doing that, hopefully we'll get some attention for CFML and we can get them to actually add it to Code Wars. So right now we have 39 people. I'm going to post the link in YouTube. But yeah, the cool thing is that we should be able to, get enough people that maybe they'll pay attention and they'll add it to Code Wars and it'll be even better. But we're going to build this anyway because it's fun. But okay, so you're adding some stuff in here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can hit that. Oh, come on! If I can hit that URL for.
Should be test, shouldn't it?
Yeah. Did I not pluralize that? Run remote directory.
What you should be able to do is just see. Okay, I think what we need to do is if we actually put it in its own module, then we can just hit that test specifically. So let's do that now. Let's make a sub module here.
Okay.
So we could leave the runner that we have there because that's kind of running everything. And so what we can do is make a modules folder. So we'll make it under that.
Yep.
Modules. And then underneath that, we'll make a new module. We're going to call it reverse string. Okay, and every module needs at least a file called module config. Okay.
I don't know if it's name or table.
Yeah. Reverse string CFML challenge or something. Yeah, something like that. Okay. I think that's all you need.
Okay. That's right.
Yeah, it's a minimalistic. That's all we need. And then what we can do inside there, we can have a file just called runner.cfm inside the same folder. And then we can have, actually we probably have to put tests in there and then put the application CFC. Yeah, so put it in there with another application CFC. It's a little more work than we probably needed, but this will give us some ability to be more specific. The reason that we're doing the sub modules is because when a module is actually loaded, we can actually have it do some work. It's basically on module load is a lifecycle event, and so we can have that module add itself to the array down the road. So that's the reason I'm deciding to put in a module instead of just a folder, because we can, each module, as someone creates a module, they can just commit that module, and that module can basically register itself and add all the information. We don't have to worry about merge requests, interfering with each other, trying to add stuff to the JSON or the array. So, okay, so in the application CFC in there, we just need to do a little extra work with the model, the path, sorry.
Yeah. So are we creating a mapping for this? A test mapping? I don't know exactly what you want.
Yeah, so inside the reverse string application CFC. So not that one though. Oh, yeah, the other one there. That one. Yep. And the application CFC, we need to do basically the same thing as the test application CFC. So if you go copy it from the main folder. So we have all the, not there, let's see, is that one?
Well, you said
Let's
the
copy
main.
the one from our other module that we just did earlier. I think probably the best bet. Yeah, so let's copy that one. And then we can, yep. You probably can leave that alone because the hash will probably make it unique enough anyway. And then, so all we need to do is just add a little bit extra to that root path so it knows how to get back up to the test. So, so modules, and then do the multi-regex thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. That's just so all the runner stuff we don't need to change. So you go to runner now, and it should be the same.
Yeah, you're gonna have to grab it from that parent module.
Yeah, but everything else in there should be fine. Cool. So let's save that. And so now we can just do modules / first string / test / runner.
It's a lot of setup for us. Basically, a single test file and a single model,
So
or even just a single
passing
test file.
Oh, we don't have any specs.
Yeah, the default specs are passing.
Okay.
Actually,
so are we getting it from the right place?
It must be hitting the default specs.
I wonder if the test.specs is getting up. So I wonder if that's actually getting it from the top of the root of the site.
Did I copy this from the wrong folder? I didn't think so.
No, it just must be the application CFC mapping isn't working quite as we expected. So /test. I'm not sure about that. Well, let's see if we can actually get the... Okay. Well, I guess we could be more specific about it. So let's go to our application. No, not application CFC. Go to our runner.cfm and let's change it.
Change what?
So we want to change the URL directory. So change it to modules. Yeah, and we'll just do the full setup. So modules.cfml challenge.
We don't even have a specs folder.
Oh, maybe that's the problem because we couldn't find the specs. That went up and used a different mapping or something, but
yeah, I don't know.
There we go. Now we have a folder, so now it's there. So let's put
we move this one to here.
Yep. And then refresh. There we go. Okay. So I wonder if we change it back. I wonder if it would work without that. But anyway, we can adjust this as we go. So now we can use the full URL inside our array stuff. And like I said, we can clean it up a little bit. But what this allows us to do is when we actually have reverse string, we can have a lot of detail in that module. If we need to do something special, we can. It gives us a lot of options. So
that's fair.
So plus, we're also learning, as Luis would be so happy, HMVC, where we're doing hierarchical modules. Hierarchical MVC. Although we're kind of hacking it for the test, but yep. So how to reverse strings? We can also, put proper instructions. So like create a, we could do something where it say create a model inside of in your models folder and call it, reverse string, have a function in there called run, or call it reverse string inside that, etc. So we could be more detailed about how to go ahead and do that. Yep. Okay. So now let's make up a fake next function. So you want to just another one in there called so the next one in the array. What should we do? What's a good next test here?
We could do what's the kayaks?
Sorry, what?
What are kayaks? A palindrome. We could do palindromes. It's another, kind of string manipulation. Palindrome. I don't know.
Sure, throw it in there.
Sure. Palindrome checker. Learn how to.
Oh, everyone likes doing Fibonacci too.
For
Palindrome checker.
check
Okay,
a
cool.
string for if it is a palindrome. I'm not gonna worry about the English right now.
That makes sense. We can cheat and use the function we already built up there.
Yep.
Yep. So, and then So now. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we have this. We put it in the PRC, and for those who aren't very familiar with ColdBox, the PRC is like your private request collection. And if you've done stuff with Framework 1, I think they have RC PRC because Sean Caulfield used ColdBox up to like ColdBox 3 before he actually created Framework 1. So that's pretty similar. But if you use Fusebox or other places, a lot of them put all the form and URL strings, the query string stuff into attribute start or something like that. So RC is basically the request collection. That's what came in from the request. Form, URL, etc. gets put into that RC. And PRC is private, which means only the application code that you write can access that. And so that's usually where you put things in that you trust. So the PRC is for trusted data. And so if you have stuff in the RC scope, sometimes you'll validate it, you'll clean it, and you'll take it from the RC, put it in the PRC. But it's just a helpful reminder that RC is not safe. PRC should be safe data. So, and the great thing is that the RC and the PRC is available to the layout and the view, etc. So pretty much everything but the model gets those from the framework supertype. So if we go into here, we can just dump out. We just do a CF dump. You should be able to CF dump out the PRC scope or the challenges. Yep. If we go and check that out, we should see a nice array. We go back to our main page.
Cool.
There we go. So now we can loop over this and sort of give it a breakdown.
Actually, I just learned about this cool one last week. Render view, and then you name like the view equals challenge, and collection equals PRC dot challenges. So it's going to actually execute this view once for every item in the challenges array. So now I create that.
Yep. So basically create a partial.
Yep.
Challenge.
Yep. And I think I'm going to need to specify views. No. home/challenge. Is that right?
Yeah. And then usually for a partial, a lot of people will do an underscore at the front of the name of it, so you know it's not a full page, it's a partial page. Just a convention that makes it easier. And a lot of other languages and frameworks use that type of setup as well. So you may want to use that. And if anyone watching has any feedback, they can tell us if they do some of that for partials or not. So
Gonna make it all semantic.
a little tricky.
So it's challenge. So I'm referencing the title using, or the name using the my view file name, because that's what ColdBox is doing, I think.
Really? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was that or args.
Nope.
Oh, interesting.
I'm teaching you now, Gavin.
Yeah.
Better look out.
We can learn something every day. Yep. I know that ContiBox uses this type of format and a lot of that stuff too. I just haven't done that in a while. So
URL. I'm feeling good. I know something. Run.
You know a lot of stuff.
No, not really.
Hey, I teach the 0 to hero, so if I don't know a little bit, then I'm in trouble, right?
Guess so. Okay,
it's actually
let's.
sad when you think about it that way.
Yeah, so let's check this. Ooh, that's
Look
cool.
at that. So it's not pretty yet, as we've mentioned, guys, but we will work on that. We'll maybe throw some Tailwind in. I like Tailwind. Do you?
Definitely. Yes, I just used Tailwind for a new project recently. So
Yeah.
actually, let me grab this from my favorite CDN. And
For those of you who haven't used Tailwind, Tailwind's awesome. Adam Watham uses it. He's the creator of it. He's a big guy in the Laravel world, and him and Steve Schroeder's doing a lot of cool stuff with Tailwind and refactoring UI stuff. And so definitely fun, cool. It's a utility-based framework, but he's just a smart guy, and he does things very well. And yeah, you'll see when we start using it. Life will be pretty cool. And Bootstrap 4 has a lot of utility type stuff, but if you're using Bootstrap 3 like I am a lot of times, you'll notice very quickly that should be changing something like this. So I love it. So let's see.
Yeah, so I'm creating a layout that actually has valid HTML. CFML challenge.
Very good.
Okay. I gotta close some files because I don't know where I am anymore. Okay, I'm gonna go border 2, shadow, medium. I don't know.
Cool.
Maybe
Do some
padding 4, and let's go with margin vertical margin 4. Let's see what happens. Boom. Oh, very nice.
We already made it pretty pretty.
Yeah.
You may want to add some X margin to the overall layout or something.
Yeah, so let's see, in
Maybe
our index, let's wrap this in a div class equals container mx-auto, which was going to center that container.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a start.
There we go.
Cool. Run the test.
Okay, the links, you have to give everything some styling, but nice. So it pops it up. Cool.
This one. Interesting. It gets picked up by ColdBox because this file does not exist. So that gets executed as a ColdBox event.
Yeah, well, CommandBox has some, I think, rewrites built in that basically do try files. So if it doesn't exist, I think it goes to index.cfm as a rewrite. So pretty interesting.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we have a list there. So we can run the tests and we can see them. But I wonder if we should let's change our main runner real quick to go look in the right place for tests. So we're going to go back to our runner.cfm inside of our file here. So instead of running test.specs, we actually want it to run above that. We want it to run, let's see, we're in the right one, modules. So let's do modules app dot Well, I think we can copy the other one here because I think we already have the runner.
Well, I'm not sure if you were looking. I actually removed it because it worked without this once we had the specs folder.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's fine.
so I don't even have. Yeah.
I was just thinking if we just put it in the modules folder itself, and then that way inside of it, no, let's see, even the reverse string one,
Yeah.
we don't need it in there. We can just point it at the test. But for the main one, we want it to hit everything inside the modules folder.
Oh. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? So
I think so. So you're talking about this runner here in the main folder. So everything in the test folder?
yeah, but can you see? Oh,
I'm not sure what I guess I'm not sure what you're driving at.
okay, not that test folder, the CFML challenge one. See, we got too many going on here.
Oh, I was
So if you
just
click the little
okay.
click the little push pin at the top right hand corner. There's a push pin. Now,
Push pin.
if you click that, you'll see where I am.
Whoa. Ooh.
See, then you can follow me as I click around. Now, if I click around, you'll see what I see. So, and then if you unclick it, you can do your own thing. But while that's clicked, you follow me in CFML and
Okay.
VS Code.
All right, very good.
So CFML challenge.modules, and since we're doing recursive, it should get every test under that. Let's go back and we'll try and run that now. So basically, we wanted to run all of the tests for all of the challenges.
For all the challenge modules. Gotcha.
So
if I hit this
to run
one,
the test for that, it's going to a specific module. But if we go just to the modules app CFML challenge /test /runner, so we get rid of the module piece.
Yep.
Test /runner. Now it should run all the tests for all the modules.
Very nice. Ooh, that's a fun looking test. What's that one?
See, because it's getting applications. It's getting the application CFC. So it's getting every CFC, not just the ones that have tests in it.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. So what we should probably do, let's go to, let's see here, fine. See, in MX unit, there used to be a way to basically say if it has test.cfc in the name, use that. So I wonder if there's something like this in here where it only uses certain types of files to look for test suite. So I know we could do the excludes, so we could exclude some stuff there. I wonder if the URL.directory takes a file blob.
A file
Probably
blob?
not.
Yeah, I would
glob. I mean,
doubt it.
Sorry.
Blob. Yeah. You're talking about basically doing modules .*.specs or something.
Yep, something like that. Try it, but it doesn't work.
Yeah, I am highly doubtful. Let's put it that way. Oh, wow.
Nothing.
It did work in that it removed the ability.
Yeah, so it removed everything. So
yeah.
I'm thinking that'd be kind of nice, or some way inside the basically some way to say, okay, we only want stuff that has test.cfc in the name. I'll have to look and see how the testbox runs. So anyway, for now, you can see at least there's no failures in those other CFCs because there's no tests on them, but it's probably running more files than it should. And so maybe that's a nice little test box update we can do, because I just like the way that, we can basically have all the tests in a module. We can still run them from one place through one runner, even though you could test all your modules tests, all the modules and its sub-modules test all at once through one runner. So crazy hierarchical, but I think it's kind of cool. So let's go look at it in the browser, because what we want to do next is I'm going to cheat here. So next to that, do formatter equals JSON, or reporter, reporter equals JSON. Okay. Okay, so let's steal that piece here, and we're going to use this inside of our PRC in our handler. when we hit this page, I want it to run that, get the JSON back, and tell us how many tests you currently have passed out of how many tests there are.
Gotcha.
So let's do something. Should we use hyper, or should we just do an HTTP GET?
It's up to you.
It's just after 5, so let's do CF HTTP, and maybe next time we'll convert it to hyper.
Sure.
Just
do you want me to make a new handler, or
no, right there inside the index.
Sure.
So we have prc.challenge is equal, and then so right above the event, let's do prc.event or .test stats or something. And right now we're going to do it inline, compared to doing because theoretically, if the tests take a long time, this is probably bad doing it in your handler. It's going to be blocking. So we'll convert this over to like an Ajax update. So then it'll be kind of nice. So the file will load, and it'll say loading, and then it'll tell us. So yeah, so what we want to do is we're going to do an HTTP call to that URL. Yep.
Good.
And so we should better just do /. No, you can't do /, so we'll have to use the full URL. Yep. And then we want to do a GET on that. Yep. Okay. And then.
Yep.
Yeah, and we should just be able to do file content, and it should be JSON, so we can probably deserialize JSON. Yep. And then on that test page, let's dump it, and then we'll go find the data we want to.
Sure.
And so this will allow us to have basically a total count. And what I'd like to do is, once we get the Ajax part done, you could actually go through each one, and just when the page loads, it could go and hit each test and tell you how many tests there are and how many you've got passing, so you can know if you need to continue working on that one or move on to the next one. Okay, so total suites. We don't care about total suites. We probably want to look down the very bottom, because I think it is ordered in some way. I think at the very bottom there should be some summary stats, I believe. So here we have total pass, total fail, total specs. So yeah, so I would, so those are the 4 bits of data we probably want. So you probably have, on this test page, we could, basically do a summary of that. So prc dot, now it wasn't total pass, it's prc dot, what's the name? Did we say test stats or something?
Oh, yes. Yep. Nope, that was it. Test.
Stats.
I totally forgot.
And so test stats dot total fails. So then you can have pass, fail, total, and then does it calculate percentage, or we could do it obviously as well. So it has. You could also say how long it took to run. So there's all this information. It's kind of neat because, we just changed that one little thing, and TestBox gives us back JSON. And so this is how you can actually do stuff in your CI as well. If you want to run your tests via JSON, your CI can actually go and pass the number of tests. It can output errors. It can do all sorts of stuff. Obviously, if you have failures, you should be killing your build, because you don't want to pass. Don't want to continue if you've got failing tests.
Yep.
But yeah, so now let's just get rid of the dump. And then you could have a little stat saying,
So,
so pass, failed, and total.
I'm going to try to remember this. Border -2 BG-blue-500 text-white pad P-2 or 1, maybe just 1. All right.
Then you do, is it, remember if it's rounded or not?
Oh yeah, I don't remember what round it is. Total fail.
Do rounded,
total
rounded
specs.
small. Do rounded
rounded
dash
dash
SN,
SN.
and then it should have a nice little chip for us.
Yeah, you know what I'm going
And
for.
then you could have green, and then red for those fails.
Ooh.
Let's see, I'll get you some more color coding.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay.
and then I would actually wrap the entire thing in the pass specs in it.
Makes
So
sense.
pass specs inside of it as
Yep.
well.
Or
Something
maybe
like that.
underscore passed.
Yep.
Failed.
We have to do some logic saying, yeah, the whole page. Oh, I guess we don't want to be too bad, but yeah, something like that. So save it. And we may want to put some margin, some Y margin on it, just so they're not too close to each other too. So do like my-2 for each of them, so there's a little bit of space between them. Oh, MX, sorry, you're right.
I'm always right, Gavin.
Design skills too.
I'm always right, Gavin.
Probably want some padding X as well, just to make it look better. And then we should probably increase the rounded option as well. Huh. I wonder why the rounded isn't working quite like I thought.
A little hard to tell on the rounded, but
I guess we can make it large.
yeah, the padding is different because these are inline elements.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can make them divs and we could just do inline block or something. Yeah. Sorry for everybody watching, getting a design lesson instead of a coding lesson, but
it's my fault, isn't it?
okay, but
Yeah.
that's kind of cool that wait, you got the fail and the specs backwards, so you need to switch those.
What? No way.
Yeah, you got total failed and this. Yeah, there you go.
You're killing my stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So now we can see that, and like I said, I'd like to, maybe add some Ajax or something. So each one, once we've loaded the page, we could use some JavaScript to go and hit those URLs to see how many you've passed of which one, and the total could be something similar. Or we could actually loop through that one. If we're going to get all the tests run so we get the totals, we could actually just loop through the actual test results and output them that way or something. So there's lots of things we can do there. Maybe we can do something like that, but I think it's kind of cool that we have a nice little contents now. We add new stuff, it'll show up there. We can show the passed or failed for each one. If they click on it, they can basically get the instructions on how to start it. So maybe we can have little icons for, if they haven't passed them all, how to click a button to get the instructions and go from there. So
sounds good,
I think
Gavin.
we made some pretty good progress today.
Yep.
Cool.
Thank you all for watching.
I
think I gotta go.
Yeah, me too. But I think next week we'll make it a module. We'll add some more stuff, and then you guys can actually pull it down and try it out. We'll make it pretty and add some Ajax.
It's starting to come together.
Very cool. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Michael, for having me.
Thank you.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yep, you too. Thank you.